There once was a rock chick called Marcia. She lived with a humanoid mummy in the year 2124. A humanoid is an android robot. By the year 2110, they looked like humans, they feel like humans, they act like humans, and they have emotions like humans, so they can do a really good job of looking after children, except they need batteries. Marcia also lived with a human daddy and a puppy called Diego. Diego was cute, but a little nuts. Marcia had come from another human family. They were cruel and scary. They were space rangers, but they weren't good at keeping children safe. And so Marcia had been rescued and given to this family instead. Sandra the humanoid mummy and Will the humanoid daddy. Will hadn't been programmed for understanding big feelings with gentle parenting, but he was programmed for cooking, helping around the house, building, earning money and taking dogs for walks. Marcia had some really big feelings from her past. Feelings so big that they came out in the house. Sandra Mummy would help her sort through the big feelings. She would stay with her when the feelings got big until they got small again, and this was great for Marcia. But there was a problem. No one remembered to keep checking on Sandra Mummy's battery levels. She was doing so much helping with big feelings that her battery level was getting lower and lower and lower and lower. Sometimes Marcia's feelings would be so big that she would shoot up through the air into the sky, heading for space. This made Sandra Mummy panic. Humanoid bots can fly up in the air if they put all their energy into it. The first few times it happened, Sandra did this. She couldn't find Marcia right away and her battery flashed a warning and she had to go home. There was tricky stuff happening for Marcia outside of the home. As she walked to and from school or was out with her friends, for reasons no one could understand, she kept on getting hit by fireballs. This made her frightened and scared to go out, but she didn't want to stay in all the time either, so the feelings grew bigger. Then one day, Marcia's feelings got really big again and she shot up into orbit. Sandra Mummy went to follow her and...
Battery failure.
She couldn't. She didn't have enough battery power. This broke Sandra's heart because she didn't know where Marcia was and if she was safe. She had enough battery to move around the house slowly and she sat down and cried. Daddy Will contacted the factory for a new battery, but they'd stopped making them. They said they would send a battery charger, but this would take 3 months to fully recharge Sandra. But only if Sandra took things easy while she was plugged in. She couldn't do anything that would drain the battery. This meant she couldn't help Marcia with big feelings. Oh, how Sandra's heart broke. Daddy Will wasn't programmed to help with big feelings, and he'd never learnt to fly, so there was no one to keep Marcia safe while Mummy Sandra recharged. Shall I tell you what happens if droids don't recharge when their battery is critical? That's it. They break. They end up in the landfill site. The family had no choice but to recharge Sandra. It was the only way she could carry on being a mummy to Marcia. And Sandra, more than anything else, wanted to be a mummy to Marcia. And so they made a plan, which made them all sad. Marcia would go and stay with Lucinda while Sandra was plugged in and dragging her battery pack around. Everyone wept. Nobody really wanted this. They just wanted Mummy Sandra to be recharged fast. But even in 2124, that wasn't possible. Marcia found it hard that Diego got to stay and be loved and looked after when she couldn't. It made her worry that Mummy loved him more than she loved Marcia. It made her heart hurt so much it hurt. But Mummy didn't love Diego more. It was just that she could do the things he needed with a battery pack attached, and Daddy Will was programmed to take him for walks. And so there was a period of time with a lot of tears and a lot of broken hearts while the family were apart. Mummy Sandra had Marcia's photo in her wallet, on her phone, on her fridge, and on her bedside. Marcia was in her mummy's heart and mind the whole time. Mummy was always thinking of her. Mummy Sandra would still meet with Marcia for short periods of time, dragging her battery pack with her. While her battery was charging, Daddy contacted the authorities to make the fireballs stop. Marcia was angry. Of course she was. She loved Mummy Sandra and she trusted her, and Mummy Sandra had made her feel safe. To be without her was agony, and she covered the sadness with crossness, and Mummy Sandra understood that. Both Marcia and Mummy Sandra were cross that Mummy Sandra's battery hadn't lasted better and that it needed recharging. Sadly, all the crossness in the world didn't make the battery charge any faster. They just had to wait and hope. Finally, one day...
Fully charged.
Yes, Sandra's battery was fully charged and the family could plan to be back together. Is this the happy ever after? Well, it's the start of it. It wasn't easy, of course. There was a lot of hurt and sadness and crossness to work through. But now Mummy's battery was full. Mummy could do that. And in the end, they got there. The end.